Hi everyone. So, thank you so much for coming. My name is Avi, if you don't know. And for the last few years, I've been trying to build the most impactful projects that I can. A few years ago, I built one of the largest coronavirus tracking websites where we had hundreds of millions of users. And just the other year, I built a website where Ukrainian refugees could find housing. But these projects were extremely complicated for me and required me to keep like a substantial amount of context in my mind at the same time. I mean, I really had to keep like what was the direction I was taking, what was the priorities I was trying to do throughout the days, you know, what were just like the little details that I had to keep track of. And I think we've seen a rise of some very interesting AI tools even just the last year that do a fantastic job at, helping you just something to talk to, work on even your code or just talk about your ideas, talk about your decisions, all kinds of things. But I think all of these AI tools out there have one fundamental flaw, and that's that they don't have any personal context on you. They don't know anything about you. I mean, you're trying to use these tools to talk about decisions with your projects, and I probably explained what Tab is to ChatGPT over 100 times this past summer, and every single time I press a new chat, I mean, it's like it has Alzheimer's. It just completely forgets. It gets really frustrating. It doesn't feel natural. And I think this is also what makes a lot of new users to tools like ChatGPT just have a very terrible experience. So I've been trying to experiment with all kinds of ideas on like how can you truly give your personal context to such a tool. And I've come up with this wearable that you can see hanging around my neck right now, where throughout my days, it kind of ingests the context of my daily life through listening in on all of my conversations. Especially I realized when I was working on my projects like the Ukrainian one or the coronavirus one, I talked with my friends like all the time about every little tiny detail of what I'm working on. Everything from the user experience to just decisions about it, concerns that I have that get brought up. And I would love to be able to seamlessly have this, just kind of with my AI. So I'll just show you a quick little demo. I think the greatest way to show you one would just be to ask Tab. Hey Tab, I'm on stage right now. What would be a cool way to demo Tab? Get a little Apple transcription right there. But yeah. So, as you can see, Tab suggests all kinds of ideas. I mean, it understands what Newton is, it understands the demographics of the audience here, it knows who I am, it knows who Tom is. It comes with all kinds of ideas here. For example, why don't I ask about the dinner conversations that I had today? I think that's a great idea. So Tab, what did I discuss during dinner today? Let's see what it comes up with. And I think one thing that I found that is amazing with talking to AI like this is you're kind of computing the way you think. Usually when you're trying to talk to someone or you're just thinking, you don't like prompt engineer your thoughts. You don't like explain and write this context or like these random paragraphs of specific features. You just want to talk to your AI. And that's what I've noticed with using dinner like this. So for example, it even picked up Flair, if you see that. It talks about all kinds of ideas from economic dominance. I think I was talking about that with someone earlier. All kinds of it even discusses like the blueprint meal plan here. And I'd love to see what Tab thinks about blueprint. Yeah, me too. So what do you think about blueprint? Should I try it? I feel like I'd be very interested to see what it has to say here, but yeah, so Tab thinks that based on my interest in healthy habits and past experience, probably worth trying. However, he remembers that it looks like I had a bad experience with my nutty pudding the last time. And, probably suggests that I should listen to my body and preferences and kind of, prompts me to keep talking about it. But I think there's actually a far more fundamental problem with AI these days, rather than just the lack of context, that I've only realized you can solve through working on a project like this. And that is that you often don't even know what question to ask in the first place. And I think this is primarily an issue for people that haven't, played around with ChatGPT, asking, code questions, so you really understand how you can use a tool. Most of my friends back at home, they just don't even know what question to ask. So I came up with this cool idea where you can kind of have these prompt suggestions, because Tab can kind of constantly predict what I might want to ask it next. Again, it understands my goals, the projects, people in my life, just what I'm recently talking about. So let's see, it comes up with some key points I could mention, or how about what might be some investor concerns about Tab? Probably quite a lot, but let's see what it might come up with. And again, I've tried to experiment with all kinds of wearable form factors, everything from necklaces to wrist things to ear things, like all kinds of ideas. And I've really fallen in love with this idea of a necklace that you can see around me. It's kind of like a little amulet, maybe. It feels really natural to just put on a necklace. You don't really have to think about it. We've really tried to make the battery just last all day. Like, it's working right now. Just listen to Flare. And it seems like it's come with all kinds of ideas from, complex interactions, or let's say privacy concerns. That's probably a big one that investors might have. Let's see what Tab might do to help me with that. Because one really cool thing that you can do with Tab is you can not only just query it about your life, right? It's not just like a database of all your conversations. It's not just your personal context, but you also are basically using like super intelligence with GPT-4. And you can use that to help you now with like your own personal problems and projects in a very natural way, right? So that's a great idea, Tab. What do you think about privacy? What would be a good way for me to alleviate investor concerns about that? So, again, that glorious Apple transcription, but let's see what it comes up with. So, yeah, it comes with all kinds of ideas to help me alleviate concerns. It's just, let's say, we don't store audio recordings or transcripts, because again, the way this works is you kind of create like a mini knowledge graph of each conversation and like merge that into a main knowledge graph that you have, which makes it so that it's actually pretty private and secure. I think like LLMs not only make this possible, they actually make it possible to make this secure, because you don't just have a list of every little tiny thing that you said. That would be quite weird. So you can see we've got all kinds of ideas here, which I think, it's great. Like, I've been using Tab far more than I actually thought I would do. Late at night, I'm just trying to talk through ideas I have with how should I demo Tab, maybe concerns that I brought up during the day. Maybe I'll have a conversation about Tom, or with Tom, about, I don't know, just, I've actually had conversations about it with Tom, or really just all the friends in my life. It really does a good job of identifying the different speakers and really just, it's like your true personal AI. And I truly think this is basically the future of where personal computing is heading, right? Like, you don't want to have, you're not going to have a box on your desk that's just like a bunch of screens and computers and things like that. We should make computing a lot easier for most people to use. And most people just think in language and projects, ideas, and things like that. And if we can make these, little AI tools do a lot more than just something to talk to, but, a lot of people I know in this crowd are trying to build incredible AI agents that, maybe right now they help you book flights, but soon they'll build you entire projects. And if they could just kind of do that for you without you having to, prompt engineer this or explain in such detail or anything like that, I think it becomes a much more like seamless way to integrate technology into our lives. And I'm pretty excited to work on this. So, we're excited to basically start rolling these out to people as soon as this winter. And we're also looking for our first few users. Definitely looking for people that think they would be able to use this in a very interesting way. We use it in our team, which is great, but I want to see how people might use this, just something to talk to, something to help them with their decisions, concerns, all kinds of ideas. So if you're interested in that, please just DM me on Twitter. And again, we have 10 tabs in our office over there. Please don't steal them tonight. But it'll be great. Again, thank you so much for coming. I'm excited to keep talking about this. Thank you.